Welcome to Business Turnaround, your go-to podcast for insightful strategies on managing companies in decline or distress. I'm your host, Marek Niedźwiedź from AXA Capital, and today we're diving into one of the most dangerous mistakes SME owners make when profits disappear, confusing cost-cutting with cost discipline. Let's get it started. When margins come under pressure, most business owners react the same way. They panic, they slash, they freeze spending, they cut staff, they cancel investment, they squeeze suppliers, and they call it being disciplined. But in reality, that reaction often finishes the business instead of saving it. Cost cutting feels decisive, it feels responsible, it gives the illusion of control. But uncontrolled cost-cutting is usually a sign that the owner has lost visibility, not that they've regained it. And in blue-collar businesses where people, processes, and timing matter, cutting the wrong cost can destroy value far faster than declining revenue ever could. Cost discipline is something very different. Cost discipline is not about spending less, it's about spending intentionally. It's about understanding which costs generate profit, which protect quality, and which quietly drain the business every single day. Most struggling companies don't have a cost problem, they have a clarity problem. I've stepped into companies where the owner proudly told me they had cut overhead by 20%, and yet productivity collapsed, errors increased, customer complaints rose, and profitability got worse. Why? Because they cut the visible costs, not the dangerous ones. They cut people who carried knowledge. They cut maintenance that prevented breakdowns. They cut training that kept standards high. Meanwhile, inefficiencies, waste, rework, and poor pricing stayed untouched. That's not discipline, that's desperation. Real turnarounds work in the opposite direction. We don't start by cutting, we start by understanding. We look at where money actually turns into margin and where it simply disappears. We protect the costs that keep the engine running properly. And we attack the costs that exist only because nobody has challenged them for years. In one business I work with, the owner wanted to make redundancies immediately. Instead, we paused. We analyzed workflow, downtime, and decision bottlenecks. What we discovered was that the business wasn't overstaffed, it was poorly organized. Once we fixed scheduling, accountability, and basic process discipline, costs dropped naturally without layoffs. Profit returned without damage. Morale improved instead of collapsing. That's cost discipline. Cost discipline strengthens a business. Cost cutting weakens it. And here is the key mindset shift every SME owner needs to make. The goal of a turnaround is not to make the business smaller, it's to make it stronger. A strong business can grow again. A hollowed out business cannot. If you're listening to this and thinking about cutting costs right now, ask yourself one question before you touch anything. Does this cost protect value, or does it exist because of poor control? That question alone can save your business. This concept, cost discipline versus cost cutting, is explained in much more depth in my book, The Blue Collar Turnaround Bible. You can download the digital copy for free on my website axa.capital. Inside, I break down how stabilize costs without destroying capability and how to rebuild profitability without panic. Thanks for listening to Business Turnaround. I'm Marek Niedźwiedź, and remember, disciplined businesses survive downturns. Panicked ones don't. Build discipline first, and profitability follows. See you in the next episode. Bye for now.